I was born in New York in 1959. Believe it or not, but I had a happy upbringing. My father was an Iranian immigrant. My mother died in the wool New Yorker. Me? Just a kid, bumbling along. Years later, I went away to university. There's an image stuck in my mind. My parents waving goodbye to me as the taxi drove off to the airport. That was the last time I saw them. A few months later, they were killed in a hit-and-run accident. The driver, probably a drunk, was never found. I went into law, got a job as a public prosecutor in New York. Some people describe me as fanatical. I was just trying to do my job. But so many slipped through the cracks. To begin with, I picked the worst of them. The rapists, the murderers, the drug dealers. It's so easy to track people who don't know they're being followed. I preferred to use a knife. That way I could get close. I could look them in the eyes as life left them. And every time, I imagined it was the driver who killed my parents. It never was. There was shame, of course, and regret. I knew it wasn't right. I tried to stop, but I couldn't. I took comfort in knowing that I was alone in this, that nobody was watching, not when I stabbed my victims, or afterwards when I was crying in bed. But someone was watching. The shadow entered my life in 1995. The cops had set a trap. I was cornered and bleeding out. This was it. Then something swooped down from the rooftops in a flurry of blows, cracked bone, and screams. Mahmoud presented himself. He was a child of Hakim, and gave me a choice. Drink from his blood and follow him, or die in that alley and let the failed system win. The choice was easier than you think. He taught me everything about the kindred, their ways, their follies, their weaknesses. Mahmoud was a scholar, a historian, a collector, charting the pursuit of justice over the centuries. He was a cruel teacher, and it wasn't long before I regretted joining him. But I was trapped now, in this afterlife. I took comfort in knowing that the mission would go on, that justice would prevail. We stayed out of the Camarilla machinations, their petty conflict with the anarchs. Our services were called on from time to time, but mostly we were left alone. That was about to change. I was away on a job. When I got back, I went, as always, to deliver my report to Mahmoud. I found him in his apartment, a dry collection of skin and bones. Someone had rammed a stake through his heart, nailed him to the floor, and cut off his head. The place had been torn apart. Someone had been searching for something specific. Eventually, I realized what was missing. A Venetian statuette Mahmoud had brought to the States when he left the Alamut. I thought I would be free of his influence, but I was wrong. I couldn't let his murder go. Couldn't let this theft go unpunished. I had to find who did this and bring them to justice.